Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me today. We're here to delve into one of the most significant and often controversial aspects of U.S. economic history, the history of tariffs. At their core, tariffs are taxes on goods imported and exported between nations, yet their impact extends far beyond economics, influencing the United States political landscape, societal structures, and international relations. Tariffs have been both a tool of economic strategy and a source of political division, shaping the trajectory of the nation from its earliest days. They have funded wars, protected industries, and sparked revolutions. They have also highlighted ideological battles over state versus federal power, economic independence versus globalization, and fairness in trade practices. In this lecture, we'll trace the evolution of tariffs from their colonial roots under British rule to their role in pivotal moments like the Civil War, the Great Depression, and contemporary trade conflicts. Along the way, we'll explore how tariffs reflect broader struggles, whether economic, political, or social, and their enduring legacy in shaping the United States into the nation it is today. Before independence, the American colonies were essential to Britain's mercantilist system designed to consolidate wealth and power by controlling trade. The Navigation Act, 1651 onward, mandated that colonial exports such as tobacco, sugar, and cotton be shipped only to England or other English colonies using British ships. These laws, paired with tariffs on everyday goods like tea, paint, while these policies enriched Britain, they stifled economic freedom in the colonies. Forced to pay inflated prices and unable to trade freely, colonists faced economic hardship that symbolized Britain's growing control over their lives. This frustration gave rise to the rallying cry of no taxation without representation, planting the seeds for revolution. Some key acts escalating colonial tensions. The Sugar Act of 1764, expanded taxes on sugar and coffee, tightening trade restrictions and angering colonists. The Stamp Act of 1765 imposed taxes on printed materials, sparking widespread protest and boycotts. The Townshend Acts of 1767 taxed imports like glass and tea, leading to events like the Boston Massacre in 1770. This mounting tension culminated in the Boston Tea Party in 1773, where colonists protested the Tea Act by dumping British tea into the Boston Harbor. It was the defining moment of defiance, signaling a refusal to accept economic and political oppression. The first federal tariff. With independence achieved, the young United States needed revenue to fund its government and stabilize its economy. The Tariff of 1789, the nation's first major federal economic policy, imposed a 5% duty on imports. This tariff served two purposes. One, raising funds to repay war debts. Two, encouraging domestic manufacturing by reducing reliance on foreign goods. Beyond its immediate economic impact, this tariff symbolized the new federal government's authority to regulate commerce and implement fiscal policy, setting the stage for a centralized national economy. The era of protectionism, the Tariff of 1816. After the War of 1812, the U.S. introduced protective tariffs to shield its industries from British competition. The Tariff of 1816, focused on textiles and iron, marked the start of economic nationalism. These measures aimed to foster domestic self-sufficiency by prioritizing American manufacturing. The Tariff of 1828 and the Nullification Crisis. The Tariff of 1828, dubbed the Tariff of Abominations, imposed high duties favoring northern manufacturers. Southern leaders opposed it strongly, arguing it unfairly burdened their agricultural economies. South Carolina's Ordinance of the Nullification in 1832 declared the tariffs unconstitutional, threatening secession and igniting a showdown with President Andrew Jackson. His response, including the Compromise Tariff of 1833, diffused the crisis but left unresolved tensions between federal authority and the states' rights, tensions that foreshadowed the Civil War. The Civil War and post-war industrial growth. During the Civil War, the Union relied on high tariffs like the Morrill Tariff in 1861 to fund its war effort and protect northern industries. These tariffs spurred industrial growth in the North, while the South, reliant on agricultural exports, faced economic hardship. After the war, tariffs became a cornerstone of the U.S. economic policy, fueling rapid industrialization during the Gilded Age. The Great Depression and the Smoot-Hawley Tariff. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff in 1930 raised duties on over 20,000 imports in response to the Great Depression, aiming to protect American jobs. Instead, it led to global retaliation, shrinking international trade and worsening the economic crisis. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff demonstrated the risks of extreme protectionism in a global economy, prompting a shift toward trade liberalization in the post-World War II era. Post-World War II era trade liberalization and global cooperation. After World War II, the US spearheaded efforts to reduce trade barriers, prompting global recovery through the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, otherwise known as the GATT, and institutions like the IMF and World Bank. These policies marked a shift from protectionism to trade liberalization, fostering international economic cooperation. Modern era and tariff debates. In recent years, tariffs have regained prominence in policy debates. The US-China trade war during the Trump administration saw tariffs imposed on billions of dollars in goods to address trade imbalances and protect American industries. While these measures sought to boost domestic production, they reignited discussions about balancing economic protection with global trade relationships. Conclusion: tariffs as tools and symbols. Throughout US history, tariffs have been more than economic measures. They've served as political tools, symbols of power, and flashpoints for conflict, from sparking the American Revolution to shaping industrial policies and modern trade wars. Their impact has been profound. As the US continues to navigate global challenges, the legacy of tariffs remind us of their enduring role in shaping policy, economy, and society. Thank you for your attention.